Hey there, how are you today? My name is Dana Damara, and you have landed on Astrocast. This is your monthly report for the astrology of June 2024. Now, in this report, I usually just kind of give you a overview of what's coming for the month and talk a teeny tiny bit about certain noteworthy transits that are happening this month, which we have a few. And I would inspire you or invite you to make sure you subscribe and listen to the weekly forecast, because that's when I'll go into depth about kind of what's happening. And this month, I'll do a special report for the full moon, the new moon, and the parade of planets that we're having on June 3rd, which is super cool. So, first things first, we start off this month with just so much Gemini energy. And when we think about Gemini, first of all, remember that Jupiter just moved into Gemini. We also have the Sun in Gemini and Venus in Gemini. And so we have this energy all sitting in the sign of Gemini. Now, when we think of Gemini, we think of what? We think of the twins. We think of looking at two sides of things, right? I want to hone your awareness into one in particular energy spot of this whole Gemini energy thing. And let's think about our existence as a spiritual being and our existence as a human being, right? So we are of this world, like we are human. We have this body, we walk around in it all day. But sometimes I think we forget that we are more than that. We are this actually product of the cosmos. We are this spiritual being that is full of vibration and energy and electricity, and we are housed in this body. And so sometimes I think, for me personally, one of the biggest struggles I have is to maintain a balance between those two, because there's a part of me that just wants to be in the cosmos and in the light all the time, and then there's this other one that has to pay bills, right? So if this resonates with you, yay. If it doesn't, that's fine. But this month will be about really looking at two sides of something, two sides of your life, two sides of a relationship, two sides of something. But it's peppered all month with this Gemini energy. So just beware. So moving between this is, I don't know, I think it's actually the gift of life. It's this beautiful gift that we have in human existence to be able to uh, challenge ourselves and see how many breaths it takes to come back to the remembrance that we are a spiritual being. So maybe test yourself on that this month. Couple things that are coming up that I already talked about it, is the solstice. So we have the solstice this month. We have a full moon in Capricorn, and then we also have a new moon, and then we have a parade of planets, and the parade of planets and the new moon is coming up next week. So I will record something for that. Let me get to the dates. And also toward the end of the month, I think it's June 29th, Saturn will go retrograde. Okay. So this is just kind of a couple little things that we have happening. Are you ready? Get your little notebook out. June 2nd, Jupiter in Gemini will trine Pluto in Aquarius. Now, Jupiter's expansion, Pluto is inner transformation. So this is an amazing opportunity to ask yourself, what do I really want? How am I really transforming? How can I use my inner transformation and my gifts to create abundance? So it's a beautiful day. This is June 2nd, a beautiful day to practice staying in that optimistic energy and being open to something magical happening in your life. And then those of you who listen to this on a regular basis, I'm not airy fairy. So this isn't like sitting around and, waiting for something to happen. It's more just like, be aware of the beauty and the optimism that's available to you in your life. And when we do that, guess what happens? It just keeps showing up in waves. On June 3rd is when we have the parade of planets. Now, the parade of planets, I'll do a whole report on it, but it's when a bunch of planets line up And supposedly we should be able to see most of these planets with the naked eye. A couple of them we won't be able to see, but I'll do a whole report on it June 3rd, so pay attention. Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Choop, choop, all in a line like a string of pearls. It's pretty exciting. It doesn't happen all the time, especially when you, and I'll talk about this in the recording, but especially when you remember that all the planets orbit at a different pace. So when they actually line up, it's kind of cool. On that same day, Mercury will move into Gemini. So that's, I love when Mercury is in Gemini. Mercury in Gemini is really, it gives us the speed of thought and speed of communication and understanding that we have all the words and the and the thoughts that we need. We just need to let it flow. June 4th, the sun will conjunct Venus in the sign of Gemini. I said lots of Gemini energy, didn't I? Sun and Venus. Sun is amplification of all things, making all things amplified. And Venus is all about relationship, love, money, abundance, and what we value. So that will come into play. On June 6th is Gemini new moon. Gemini new moon is all about love. And I'll do a whole report on it. But this new moon gives us an opportunity to really expand our perspective around what love means to us, right? In relationship to self, in relationship to just all of humanity. What does it really mean? And again, I'll do a whole report on it. June 9th, Mars is going to move into Taurus. Now, Mars moving into Taurus is, think about it. Taurus is home, health, hearth, right? Stable, grounded. Mars is this fiery planet. So Mars in Taurus wants us to really take care of our home, wants us to take care of our well-being, our physical health, our mental health. And it's not like these quick, like, oh, well, I'll just do this quick, $10 for 10 days at whatever space, and then I'm going to move on to something else. No, this is like create sustainable ritual to create your best health. Really, that's really what it's about. June 11th, Mars in Taurus is going to square Pluto in Aquarius. So Mars squaring Pluto, first of all, any square is slightly uncomfortable because it's asking us to change something. It's asking us to look at something. It's a square. This can bring power struggles. It can create a sense of irritability or frustration with something internally, individually, or just looking out into the world. So be mindful of that. June 14th, the sun is going to conjunct Mercury in Gemini. This is a beautiful day for self-expression. The sun amplifies everything. So sun conjunct Mercury is like, what do you really want to say? How do you really want to say it? Journaling is a great, you might find some big flow on that day. Again, pay attention to the weekly forecast. You could jot these down if you want. June 17th, Mercury and Venus are both in Cancer. Now, Mercury and Venus in Cancer is gentle and loving and sweet and compassionate. So use that energy on that day. That's June 14th. And then on June 20th, we've got the sun entering Cancer and the summer solstice. So I'll do a whole report on this, right? For the solstice. Solstice is powerful. It's for most of us, it's a time where we kind of shift our perspective and we're changing seasons. We're moving into summer in the Northern Hemisphere. And so setting intentions around this day is just gorgeous. And so if you're jotting this down and then you look back on your notes and you see everything is kind of leading up to this this moment in time, if we really get our ducks in a row, so to speak, and use this astrology, by the time the solstice comes around, we'll have the things free from our life that we're not really needing anymore, that are keeping us out of that balance between understanding that we're spiritual but we're also human. Anyways, that's a whole nother side story. And then on the 21st we have the Capricorn full moon. So we have got the sun entering Cancer, the solstice, and then the day after, Capricorn full moon. This is, Capricorn is about taking responsibility. So this is about moving into a place of leadership, of taking the reins of your life, of being self-sustaining. I'll do a whole report. And then June 29th, right toward the end of the month, Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now, Saturn spends a huge amount of time in retrograde every year. That's just the way it is. But Saturn retrograde, Saturn is about responsibility and like taking responsibility for your life and karma and this sort of thing. So when Saturn goes into retrograde, it's really asking us to look back on our life, maybe just in the last year or the last few years, whatever feels right, and asking ourselves, have we learned these karmic lessons that we've been navigating? Have we learned the lesson, right? And maybe instead of saying, have we learned the lesson, say, which lessons have I been most initiated with? And then the other side of that I always like to remember is that if we have done the work, and when we have done the work, because all of us are, right, in some way, shape, or form, Saturn always leaves a gift. So remember that Saturn is here to just keep us kind of aligned with our truth and our karmic lessons. And so just being mindful that you're paying attention to your life, and Saturn will bestow you with a gift. So I will be doing weekly forecasts. I'll be doing one for the solstice and the new moon and the full moon, and we'll see what else, maybe the parade of planets. And then just keep your eye on the weekly forecast and make sure you subscribe, because then you'll get it right into your inbox and you won't even have to think about it. If you want your chart read, please reach out to me at danadamara.com. Happy to do it anytime. And in the meantime, have a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste.